I've been through a lot together. In fact, Quentin and I have the distinction of taking Eric on his very first overnight backpacking trip into Winnipeg Lake in Central Oregon, which is a very special place in the hearts of the Hess family. And as we finally arrived at camp, I was sick with the flu. Poor little Eric was in tears. And Quentin, between swatting mosquitoes, was busy trying to convince Eric and himself, and I think of me, about how good a time we were having, how much fun we were having. And the trip, I think, went downhill from there. And you know, Eric, I think that was the last time, as I can recall, that you ever went on an overnight backpacking trip with Eric and, with Quentin and I. Is that correct? Now, Margaret, when I asked you what love and marriage meant to you, I thought your answer was telling in terms of what it said about your parents, Wayne and Marta, and how they raised you and how they influenced who you became as a person. My perception of love, Margaret told me, was built through watching my parents, who are each other's best friends. Mom and Dad were always there for each other, and now I have that with Eric. And you know, I can't think of a better commentary to confirm what every parent tries to achieve when raising their children than what Margaret said. And I suspect that Wayne, Marta, Quentin, and Debbie are at least as proud of Margaret and Eric as Margaret and Eric are of them. So again, I ask you, who are these two young adults that we've come here to celebrate? These two matched pairs. So, to begin with, they are Whitman College graduates, or also known as Whitties. And Whitman College, if you don't know, has the distinction of having the highest graduation rate of any college west of the Mississippi, where the average GPA of entering freshmen is 3.85, which is another indication that Eric takes after his mother. And also where the ratio of men to women is 40% to 60%, which was a very, very high, I think, influence in Eric's decision to enroll in Whitman College. Hey, Eric, it paid off for you. Congratulations, I'm impressed. Well, let me share a little bit more about what I learned about Teen Hess, which I think is a really good description of how Eric and Margaret and how I perceive their relationship. One of the most heartening things about their relationship is that it is the foundation of the relationship is friendship. Before Eric and Margaret were Eric and Margaret, they were friends, developing a mutual love of the outdoors, of travel, of adventure, of hiking. And although Eric realized before Margaret did, that he wanted to spend the rest of his life with you, Margaret did eventually come to the same conclusion. And they both realized that they had a shared passion for each other as well. And I think that Margaret, to me, what was telling about that was when I visited with you, and you being, when you said this, you told me that you were marrying your best friend. Congratulations. And the other enviable strength, I think, about Eric and Margaret's relationship is the trust that has blossomed between the two of them. As Margaret told me when we visited together, I can still be myself. I can still be the independent person that my parents raised me to be, knowing that Eric will always be there for me. And you know, I think nothing depicts that trust more than the story that you, Eric, shared with me about the loop hike that you took a few years ago over July 4th up in the Lake Chelan area, where you had to cross two rivers before you came back to the trailhead to meet the ferry that took you back home. And in Eric's words, as we approached the second river, we heard conflicting reports about the bridge being out. Sure enough, when we arrived at the river, the bridge was washed out. And with the ferry due back to pick us up in just a matter of hours, Our only option for crossing the river was to ford the river on foot. The river was running high with late spring runoff, and as we waded into the cold water, laden with our backpacks, the river rose to my waist, as Eric said, and even higher on Margaret. As the pull of the current increased, we linked arms together for support and balance. But even so, Margaret slipped as she may have been carried, and she may have been carried away into the current if I hadn't been there to support her. And when we finally reached the far shore, no words were spoken, just a tearful embrace and the reassurance that we both knew that we would always be there for each other. And Eric continued, I think this experience serves as a metaphor for what our relationship has become, and as a reminder that from then on, Margaret and I would face every challenge together, linking arms in support, knowing that we can always be there, trusting in each other. And by the way, moms and dads, Margaret and Eric promised to never, ever do that again. And now we're approaching that moment when Eric and Margaret will share with each other and with all of us their marriage vows. Eric and Margaret, no other human ties are more tender and no other vows are more important than those you are about to take. We are gathered here not to witness the beginning of what will be, but rather what already is. We cannot create this marriage. Only you can. What we can and will do, however, is celebrate with you the wondrous and joyful occurrence that has already taken place in your lives and the commitment that you make today. And as you join yourselves in marriage, there is a vast and unknown future stretching out before you. The possibilities and potentials of your marriage abound. And now falls upon your shoulders the task of embracing your values and making real your dreams. Through your commitment to each other, may you grow and nurture a love that makes both of you better people, a love that continues to give you great joy, and also a passion for living and for each other, that provides you with the energy and the patience to face life's responsibilities. Today you enter as individuals, but you will leave here as husband and wife, blending your lives, expanding your family ties, embarking upon the grandest of all human interaction. The story of your life together is still yet to be written. All of us present have come to witness and celebrate your love and commitment this day, eager to be part of the story not yet told. And always remember that happily ever after is not a fairy tale. It's a choice. And now, Eric, I'm going to hand you your vows. And the microphone.
Margaret, all those things down. I know today we're making things official. We both know this commitment has run deep between us for a lot longer. Over the last 7 years, I've gotten to know you better. I continually fall in love with your caring and kindness, the thought you put into those around you, the focus and dedication you bring to everything you do.